We'd like to go ahead and start with our panelists.
Am I on now? All right. I did some research, or tried to do some research on your company last night, and I had a little bit of trouble finding your company. Is there a website, or was I just not able to find it?
There is a website. It's swizzle.fm. One of the problems that you're having is that in Korea, one of the main search engines is actually Naver instead of Google. And so we're now starting to kind of move into other platforms, but we're mostly popular in the Southeast Asia region and all that kind of stuff, so we haven't had the motivation to really do that. And also with this new pivot, because our current product is all that music video stuff, with the pivot we're going to be moving forward and doing more marketing to get that out there. So.
And so you do have a website. I think our other panelists discovered that it just doesn't play on an iPad or an iPhone. Is that correct?
No, for the iPhone, we actually have an iOS app for that. And we've been messing with the server over the last couple of days doing this new pivot. And so it used to play on the iPad just fine. But over the last few days, we've been playing around with the server.
So just an inconvenient glitch in time for your big one-week
no,
debut.
it's terrible timing. So terrible timing.
Well, I did have, because I couldn't find your website, I had the opportunity to go and read some of the articles that have been written about your company. So some of that information is probably going to be based on the music video concept and less this new concept. So if I understand, the previous one was music focused, where this one, I think cutting out the story for music makes it hard to, understand the music. Is this more for these types of compilation videos or maybe how-to videos?
So it has a lot of different use cases, and that's going to be that's actually one of the reasons why we're going for content creators first, so we can kind of target a bunch of different markets to see. But yeah, no, we're taking out the fact that it's just music. It'll be anything. We've had gaming companies that come and talk to us about using it as kind of a way to go through like Twitch archive videos and get more users into there. We've had people who do how-to videos say that they'd be a great way to just show like the final product, and then if you're interested, you can swipe it down and watch the whole thing. Different lifestyle videos like makeup things, parkour obviously was kind of a jump up. We've also had people talking about like cooking, where they show like the final meal and then going back. But there's a ton of different use cases, and we're gonna have to, we can predict all we want, but we're gonna have to actually explore it when we release the MVP.
Well, just as a user, I probably wouldn't use it for music, but I would definitely use it for a how-to.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. My next question is about your business model. The information I found, as I said, may have been about the previous company. What is your business model? How do you plan on making money? And it said something about that you were trying to acquire users before focusing on turning a profit. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, we're going to release that MVP and go through a couple of things to see exactly what our direction is. But right now, in the early stages before we have massive traction, it's going to be released as a freemium model, which will help bring in a little bit of money. But the big money will come later after we have traction with a lot of B2B, with the data that we're gathering. For example, one of the cool things about this is that if we have the traction that we want, it will reveal influencers that are kind of in between influencers that we know about right now. And these are the people that typically make things go viral. They're the ones that push your videos. And we can tell because these are the people that are taking the time to actually cut your videos, put them together, and connect you directly with them, as well as just trends in different areas. Focusing also on Southeast Asia is an area where a lot of, especially entertainment kind of companies are trying to get into. And we already have a foundation there, so we can help bring companies over.
And what would that threshold be for the number of users that you're looking for?
We're probably looking at like just under 1 million to 1 million before that starts becoming a real thing.
And how many do you currently have?
Right now we have about 50,000 with the music video playlist system. We kept it in beta, haven't done any marketing, so that's all word of mouth. So we're excited about being able to build that up.
And one last question. You've had some great traction overseas in Asia. What will be the difference in your acquisition strategy here in the States?
Well, that's actually a funny thing. Even though we're relocating to the States, we're actually not going to focus too much on the US until we've built up more traction in Southeast Asia. We are going to keep a team over there that's doing a lot of things. And one of the reasons for coming to the States is more access to capital and then building things up, because the US is kind of a hard market to penetrate. And if you fail out here, you tend to not get that second chance. And so we're going to focus over there. The big way that we're going to acquire more users is working with those MCNs. In Asia, we have a lot of good relationships with them. And getting the content creators to make these things will drive up a need for them. We're also going to do an invite-only campaign afterwards so that there are viewers who want to be able to make more will be able to sign up, and we'll build some hype that way.
As far as Kansas City goes, nobody's going to be able to tell you as much as what you would experience if you just went around. I would highly recommend going to the Kansas City Startup Village, visiting some of the incubators, Sprint Accelerator, Spark Lab KC. If you start moving around in those circles, you'll really start to feel the energy here, I think. And this is a great place to start at 1 Million Cups. I went to your website and saw your iPhone app. I really like the interaction and the app and everything. The one thing I will say is it took me a while to understand, like I went to the website and it took me a while to figure out that there was an iPhone app, and it also took me a while to understand exactly what you do. But the presentation was very clear, and I realize you're pivoting right now, but what I would recommend is putting something on the website, on the iPhone app, that tells people about what you're going to do with video compilations, unless you're trying to keep that secret. Because that would be kind of enticing to say, okay, this is coming soon, sign up, put your email in, get, start to build up traction that way. So I'm curious about why you're pivoting, what with the company as it is. Were they feeling a lot of pain? Were they not getting the traction that they wanted? Or was this just such a cool idea that they said, we have to go in this direction?
Kind of a picture. Let me hit your first point. I actually am spending all day today in Kansas City hitting a bunch of stuff, and I'll be finishing up at the beta blocks thing at the evening. So I am planning on hitting a lot of people. Well, not hitting them, but as to the other question, the reason why we did pivot is because when we did the survey, it started off with, okay, well, these people are asking for this, well, let's just do that. And then as we were thinking about it and then having those conversations, we realized that this would be a better market to move into. Music video playlist is a cool idea. We had a unique feature in that other people could add videos to your playlist, but it is a very busy space. And also around the same time, YouTube was announcing their music subscription service. And so we felt like there might not be as much of a future in that, and that's why we're moving on to the other thing. For the website, we actually have a front-end web developer and designer who's going to be working on changing the website, and we have another designer where our whole app, the user interface, is going to be changing dramatically, and we have people working on that, and that's one of the things that we're going to do is both do tutorials in the app, like when you first go in, that we'll go through and see what's happening. We're changing that up to showcase it, and also in our websites and our Facebook and everything like that, we're going to be pushing the new product, but that's going to come in April. We want to work out one more bug before we start getting people.
Having been in the States and being an entrepreneur in the States and then going over to Seoul, is there anything that sticks out in your mind, big differences, big comparisons you could make?
There's a lot of big differences. Korea is an awesome place to be. Seoul especially is really exciting because 3 decades ago, Seoul was all of Korea was a third world country, and now Seoul itself, just the city, is like the 13th largest economy in the world. You have such high technology there; it's really neat. But the problem that they're having right now is that they're kind of torn between growing so fast and also being in an old system where you support bigger companies, but then they're dumping a lot of money into startups. It's actually why we have such a large team. We actually have 8 people, but they give us a lot of money that we use for salaries and things like that. So it's kind of an interesting place. Also, as far as investments goes, a lot of investors are very, very, very risk adverse. They don't like the idea of a company who's not monetizing right away. It's much more difficult to raise money. We have had a lot of success because we have connections with a lot of different angels, and cool idea helps too, but yeah.
We want to go ahead and open it up to the audience as well. I see a couple of questions. We'll start here in the middle.
Hi, Nick. Thank you so much for your presentation. My question I have for you is, what is Swizzle's plan going to be with social media? Because I have a feeling that you guys might need have some great strategies for social media. Have you guys thought about that in advance?
We have. We actually hired a intern about 2 months ago now. It's been a long couple months. So we hired an intern to jump onto our Facebook, and the purpose was, and this was when we were still kind of music video, but we knew we were going to get in this direction, and they just put a bunch of like entertaining videos on there with no real focus, trying to get like a broad range and see what would happen. And also just kind of getting people used to coming to our Facebook regularly, and actually jumped up our Facebook views by, dramatically. I think we have a ton of Facebook likes and stuff like that, and people were engaging. And we're going to capitalize on that once we have this product out where we can do the video cocktails. We're going to start throwing those on social media, tweeting to them so that people can go directly into it. Because one of the first things we're going to do is make it so you can embed this stuff so anybody can watch. You don't have to have the app. You'll be able to do it from like your mobile app or just from the website or embedded in different blogs and stuff like that. And then just start promoting those where we're doing from cool video to, hey, here's a collection of cool videos in a better C format, and moving forward with that.
Question back left.
Good morning.
Morning.
What I see you developed here, it's more than an app, it's more than video cocktails. There's almost this concept of videos as hyperlinks, where instead of, currently the web is in a lot of ways driven by hyperlinks. We post links to pages, links to comments, links to sites. It's all about these text-based links. It feels like you're now developing a video clip as a hyperlink to another video clip, which can link to another video clip. And you can build, it's almost this concept of building this whole web of linkages between videos instead of just linkages between text-based pages or a text-based page that links to a static video. Talk about the strategy around that and what I see as potential to really impact the way across the internet video is delivered, consumed, managed, distributed from that really high-level strategic, almost architectural point of view.
Okay. So you actually hit on something that we've been talking about a lot. We're starting with creating this so that you can kind of put together just like one cocktail that will just go from one and be like one package. And we're going to kick that out and see kind of where people take it so that we know what niche to follow. But eventually we are going to do that, where say you really liked a video, you kind of move in, you watch the entire video, and then you can see like other cocktails that are made up of that. And then we want to make it so that you can kind of fall down the rabbit hole of videos, which is something that isn't really available right now. YouTube is the best platform for it, but I mean, let's be honest, like discovering videos on YouTube is still really, really difficult. And other places in the world with those hyperlinks, you can, like I said, fall down the rabbit hole of the internet. You can just lose entire days to, you started with one search and who knows where you end up. So we want that to happen with videos. So yeah, you're spot on with what we're trying to do.
Question your right.
God, there's so many people.
How do you plan to monetize this? Because it doesn't appear to be obvious. And do you have an exit plan?
Well, the best way to monetize it would be to get out. Exit and sell it off, obviously. But like I talked to her about, in the early stages before we have a lot of traction, what we're going to do is release it as a premium or a freemium model where with certain cases you can have it for free, but if you want to build X number of cocktails, if you want fancy like transitions and all that kind of stuff, then you have to subscribe to it. But ultimately, when we build traction, after we have a certain number of users, that's when we can start really monetizing it in more of a B2B sense, where we are working with the data that we're accruing and working on selling that, as well as helping companies penetrate different markets that they want to get into. So it's kind of monetizing it on just this, we felt isn't actually the smartest way to go because it would kind of kill the traction. If that makes sense?
It absolutely makes sense. That's a very challenging way to monetize on the back end.
Yeah. But we think it's the best way to go. So sometimes going for the hard thing is the way to get the most reward.
Another question for you. You mentioned that you're here in the U.S. because there's better access to capital. So the question for you is, if you're looking to actually raise more capital, how much would you raise? And if you did, where would you reinvest that capital?
We are currently angel funded to basically about 5-6 months after our MVP launch. So we're good for the majority of this year. We're going to raise between 700 and $1 million. And the purpose of that is basically just to get us through. We think we can extend that to, we're planning for a year, so maybe 9 months is what it'll do. But that's going to focus on, obviously, taking care of our burn rate and all that regular stuff, but also having a certain percentage for different marketing ventures as well as traveling. There's a lot of events that happen in Asia that we're constantly going to, so a lot of it is those plane tickets and everything like that. But most of it is manpower marketing and traveling.
Question in the back.
Could you speak more about the process of targeting MCNs and content creators and what you'd like to see out of that?
Sure. So with the music video playlist system that we have, we developed a lot of connections with content creators. And when I say content creators, I mean anybody who's making content online. Typically the ones that we're targeting, obviously because we're video-based, is video-based content creators. We got a lot of musicians, and through that, we got a lot of other people, a lot of action stars, a lot of lifestyle stars, and that kind of stuff, mostly in the Asia market. So we're talking to those people individually, but the big strategy is going after MCNs. Through those content creators, we have connections with multi-channel networks in Asia, and we've been having conversations with them. And what we've been saying is, when we sit down, we tell them what we're making, and we tell them what they could use this product for, and that we would give it to content creators first. Kind of the first few months is having that just a market that they would have, where they could use it to promote their previous videos, because that's an issue that a lot of content creators are having right now. Their new videos are getting a lot of traction, but their old stuff that they did last year, they're not doing it. And it's actually why a lot of them are creating compilation videos of their old stuff, but with the current system, like I said, it doesn't really pop them back. So using that as a system to get them, giving it to them for free at first while we're building that traction, and also making sure that we're only doing non-competitive MCNs, so one MCN per region, per category, what they're doing in at first, so that we can make sure that we grow this and not get people all ticked at us at first.
I've got a question here to your right. So I love the idea, and I'm, as a user, ready to jump on board. Because you guys are based out of Korea, everything I see right now is K-pop and kind of that type of music. So how are you going to segment all of your music videos and know that I want to listen to Snoop Dogg and not Psy?
One of the things that we're kicking out in April is we're not separating the servers, but it'll basically feel like that, whereby your language and your region, you'll have more videos that are more specific to that area and people that are interacting with it. But the reason why we're not actually separating the servers is because we've talked to a lot of people, and people are kind of split. Some people just want their stuff, they just want it in English, but a lot of people like our stuff because they like the K-pop and they like seeing what people in Taiwan are doing. So we're gonna have a global setting as well, so you can just get everything from everywhere. We're also working on a categorizing feature that'll allow you to kind of narrow down specifically on your needs. Since we're obviously opening up to more than just music, that'll become really important, and that's happening, again, before our MVP.
Question back right.
Just curious, how are the intellectual property rights addressed? If people are doing clips of videos that somebody created that's original, how does that play out with the cocktails?
With each clip, it is still playing from like that YouTube video. So even though it feels like it's in something new, it is still playing from the YouTube servers, from the YouTube platforms. We have spoken to lawyers about it, and they assured us that because we're doing it in that way, our copyright problems aren't going to be that big of a deal. Right now, you do have fair use rules that are being applied in YouTube, which is why you can have compilation videos, but they're kind of a hot topic right now. And we believe that with this kind of system, it is a better way to do that because you are still sourcing those original videos because you can directly go to them and see where they're coming from.
Question in the center.
Hey.
Hey, Nick. So I'm going to
Out
pivot.
today, so.
I'm going to pivot the conversation just a little bit. So we're very excited that we got Google Fiber first, so we have very fast internet in this town. However, you hail from a country who can brag that you have even faster internet. So I'm curious to know what startups or how startups are using that really fast speed, some lessons that we might share, and potentially how you might utilize such speeds for your service.
Sure. Well, in Korea, one interesting thing that is coming up is that they have the internet of tomorrow, and so they're actually discovering the problems of tomorrow. Over here, we don't have as many people who are looking at videos and interacting with really high bandwidth products online on their phones because we have data limits and it just takes too long. Over there, when you click play on YouTube video, it just plays. That little loading circle thing, we don't even know what that is. So they're dealing with those kind of issues, and they're coming up with solutions that wouldn't necessarily transfer over to the US yet because we don't have the infrastructure over here. So that's kind of an interesting thing that's happening. We are, with this system where it's going from clip to clip, it's actually an issue that we have to kind of step back and go to places that have worse internet because we want to work on predictive preloading so that it's not as long of a process. So that's kind of an interesting challenge going from one internet-connected city to a less internet-connected city. And it would be something that we would have to make sure that we're addressing when we come here because you guys do have better internet. So I think that answered your question. Okay.
One more quick question from the audience back here.
Yes, hi. I think that your idea is, it borders on brilliant, and it's reminiscent of the Because I'm Happy website. I don't know if you visited that and just see you can watch a video 24/7 at the exact time, at the exact place, but it's the exact same video. And so I think that this is video experience of the future. My question has to do with, are you focusing solely on, in Seoul, so are you focusing solely on YouTube as the main provider of the videos, or do you plan on containing your own video, like as you have content creators to put videos within Swizzle, and Swizzle owns the videos, or is it something that can go across all the many different video providers from the internet? There are so many. I mean, Facebook is one that is rivaling YouTube right now, and so I just want to know, speak about how you're going to do that. Like, how are you using video, and is it only through YouTube, or what is your future projections on that?
Sure. So we're starting with YouTube because they have the easiest API to work with. They already have a lot of the features that we're looking to do, and it's quicker to pop them out. But eventually, the idea is to expand it to Vimeo and Dailymotion and all the others, as well as also creating another company, because it's a little bit riskier, and exploring the Chinese video services that are there. We just want that separate company in case something happens. It's a funky market. So, but yeah, no, we are planning on expanding to incorporate other things. Our main vision is to have it so that when you can put together a clip, and it can go from a YouTube clip to a Vimeo clip to a Dailymotion clip to whatever you want. As far as hosting it on our own, we talked about it, and we don't think that it's really necessary. These other companies do such a great job of hosting video, and having it in multiple places and putting it on our server, it would just be a waste of server space, honestly, and it would cost more money than is even necessary. So
one final question. What can we as a community do to help you?
talk to me. Come out and have a conversation with me. All of this was created because we had conversations. I love talking to people. If you have cool ideas that you think people would use it, or you just are excited about the way that this could go in one direction or another, I'd love to hear it. I try to keep myself out of my own little box, and talking to other people kind of helps me do that. As well as, like I said earlier, talk to me about Kansas City. I do want to hear your thoughts about this city. My whole goal today is just to go around and explore the city and see what it has to offer. So,
Thank you for your presentation.
no, thank you.